Welcome to Changing the Conversation. This podcast explores the mix of diversity, culture and tech innovations in our industry. Join us as we sit down with trailblazers, thought leaders and innovators who are reshaping the landscape of insurance, bringing you stories that redefine the narrative. We are your guide to the evolving landscape of insurance. This is Changing the Conversation, brought to you by Macaii. Good afternoon, Phil. Thank you very much for joining me. It's really great to have you here.
Thanks for inviting me on. Excited to get started and talk about what we're up to.
Do you know, I'm quite excited about this conversation because when we were doing our prep for it, we were talking about the difference between what we are good at and what our customers want and how we kind of align those two propositions, I suppose. So that's really going to be the theme of what we're chatting about today. I wonder if you can just give me a little bit of background into you, Capacity Insights, what you do and sort of how you've evolved to be here now chatting to me.
No, absolutely. Well, I've spent 30 odd years in and around schemes and binding authority business. So came straight out of university into a travel MGA, worked there for sort of 10 years, then did 10 years-ish up in the city, placing big binding authorities, always around high volume accident and health schemes. And then in 2005, dropped out of the city to come and found a business within the Helix group of companies, which over several evolutions now finds itself titled Capacity Insights. That's been our brand for about the last 10 months. We're a 4-section MGA, underwriting travel, medical, dental and personal accident throughout all the verticals, predominantly in the UK, but we have got some European business that we're incubating at the moment. But that's what we're all about. We underwrite on behalf of a single capacity provider. So we're committed to them. It's been a strategic partnership for over a decade now. So yeah, we're busy building back those schemes in and around all sorts of distribution channels and verticals, but across those 4 classes.
So we talked when we met previously around TCF. We talked about sort of regulation. How have you evolved in that space? When we talk about what we're good at and what the customer wants, how have you evolved in that space and what the kind of main things that come out of it for you?
You know, it's a bit of a cliche, but change, is the only constant, isn't it? And I think certainly the last 10 years, that has really been on fast forward for me running this business. It's a complicated space, the MGA cover holder space, but I think that's part of the excitement too. You are the meat in the sandwich, I guess, that go-between between those maybe fast-moving intermediary businesses that really need to be matching what their customers are telling me they want, through to, ever increasingly large capital providers, global giants that are giving you the paper to underwrite A-rated capacity, which again is what everyone wants. We want rated, secure capacity, but delivered in a really nuanced, sensitive way to this fast-moving consumer lines market. The majority of our products are either consumer lines or employee benefits, where we've got individual users who want products that meet their expectations. So I guess, I am a dinosaur. I had another birthday last year, but having been in this game for 30 odd years, I guess I started in a business where we would think long and hard about trying to mitigate and minimize the number of claims that occurred under each product to hit a profitability target, to hit a pricing metric. Now, certainly from the genesis of TCF and then moving through last year into consumer duty, I don't think the businesses that I've worked in or run have ever played fast and loose or had a vision of negative impact, harmful impact on customers. But the way now we have to respond to customers and regulations that require ever greater levels of customer engagement, whilst obviously controlling and mitigating claims costs to the extent that those products are still affordable, still provide the big pieces of cover, if you like, the traditional pieces of cover. So if I take something like a travel policy, will underwrite a multi-million pound layer of medical expenses insurance that could easily and routinely air ambulance somebody back from the other side of the world, with bills running into the hundreds of thousands of dollars or sterling in terms of an air ambulance plus a particularly complicated medical claim, down now to in 2023-24, an ever increasing number of clients that want parametric solutions around travel delay or baggage delay, 30, 40, 50, £100 benefits delivered now in the moment technologically. Now, those are very different products and underwriting philosophies. And I suppose going back to the title of this podcast, we are constantly challenging ourselves to say, what is it that we are good at? We are delivering an A-rated insurer to a client, and we're providing services that are capable of airlifting and air ambulancing somebody back from the other side of the world. And in the same breath, we're deploying a fast-moving consumer insurance that's capable of paying small benefits in a fraction of a second.
I think that's really interesting because I often think of it, and I'm not alone, I've heard this spoken by many people, as kind of the Amazon business model. And our buying cycles are now much more aligned to, I want it yesterday, and I don't want to have to do much admin, and I don't want to have to think about it. I just give it to me now type of buying cycle. Obviously, insurance is quite a complicated product, particularly when you're talking about some of the things that you're talking about, and we're talking about, travel insurance with medical issues and things like that. How do you see this going? Where do you see it going? Because I think it's a really complicated thing, and I think there's a lot of trial and error out there at the moment.
I think so. We always try and look at the opportunities. You can get stuck down in the detail of these things. I guess as an MGA, like I said, we see the MGA as a fast-moving growth area. It's an area where I'm inherently biased because it's all I've ever done. I've either worked within an MGA, placed MGA business, or run one. So I'm an advocate, I'm a cheerleader for the model, but I guess it's a partnership business. We partner with a capacity provider that gives us that claims paying ability, that security that we can convince both our clients and our customers that we will pay the bill when that is required. But we also occupy a space where we're a small, medium-sized entity deploying at speed and with a nimbleness and an understanding and hopefully an expertise that I would say that's the personification of the MGA layer, that fast-moving expertise where we're doing things at a pace and a quality that we think is unique. But also it's partnering with different people. We can't be everything to everyone. So I suppose I see this modern, fast moving insurance market that we work in being a sort of an ecosystem of partnerships, whether that's technology, whether that's people providing parametric claim settlement or data services, whether that's partnering with different claims providers, where we can, instead of trying to be everything to everybody, being a leader in the delivery of high engagement service subscription type services as a fully regulated entity with all of the cost and rigor and robustness that comes with that, we maybe can partner with people for some of the faster moving engagement services, certainly in terms of digital health, digital assistance, digital claim services. We will come outside of our own organization and partner with people for that engagement layer.
Where are we as a whole on that journey? Because not just COVID, but pre-COVID, we were talking about blockchain, and there's lots of conversations around AI, and now we do all of this Zoom stuff, and we talk about parametric insurance, and where are we as an industry, or as a profession, should I say, on that journey globally?
I suppose the point that I'm making is I'm not sure that we're all going to be experts in all of these things. And I'm not sure that modern regulated business, I speak, predominantly from a UK perspective. We work in a highly regulated region. The FCA and PRA are very effective, far-reaching regulators. All of these things, whether it's blockchain, whether it's the deployment of AI, they all have to have an eye on the unintended consequences. Is really your blockchain setup, is it really more secure than your sort of trusted intermediary banking arrangements with global financial services? Which is the most secure way of delivering either data or payments, etc. AI is another area where, I'm not even sure the experts in AI are truly experts in tomorrow's AI. It is such a complex, fast-moving sector that I just question whether in the future, we will all be the experts of all that we survey. And I guess, where we're starting to see, being the entity that we are and trying to find the opportunities, is we will have to partner with people who can provide these areas that we're not experts in. And it's not just expertise. It's if I bring AI around certain elements of the transaction, which maybe do have, less chance of creating consumer harm or less chance of having systemic risk attached to them, then why would I want to bring that particular element into the regulated perimeter of my business? Is it more suitable that you keep it outside in the fast moving arena of maybe an e-commerce distributor who can deploy their AI that they do in their normal business, taking Amazon as an example? I don't see a huge clamor of these global giants to bring their businesses into the much heavier, probably higher taxed environment of a regulated insurance transaction. So I can see a future where we all partner more. We partner with far more people to deliver a more complex set of services and products to actually deliver the simplicity. Amazon and businesses like them do some very complicated things to make their customers' journey seem so easy. And I think that's what we as an industry have to start to do more of, is actually the simplicity of the front end, or the simplicity of a claim payout, or the simplicity of a customer journey where they understand what it is they're buying, is actually probably the product of us all doing some far more complicated work to deliver that simplicity, because great products aren't simple products. Great products are actually complicated things that are delivered in a way that makes them feel simple.
I think it's quite interesting because over the last however many years, you can see lots of distribution software, customer experience journeys, a lot of conversations, a lot of products, a lot of businesses have kind of come out of that specific to the insurance industry. Not all have got it right, but I really like this idea of developing partnerships as being a core element of moving our industry forward to what a customer expects, because actually you've said it, you can't be everything to everyone. So, but having the expert that you are aligned with, that you can pass things around is the way a lot of businesses are going. And it's really interesting to see, really interesting to watch. What sort of changes have you made when thinking about this broader this partnership business model, I suppose, and what changes will you be making over the next kind of 5 years?
I guess we have re-engineered our entire product process to start off with what we think the consumer needs of the product are. We are frequently re-engineering product to, and this will sound the antithesis of what I probably did for the first 10, 15 years. We are engineering claims into products to hit a value metric, to discover what resonates with a distributor. How do you sell more product? Possibly by generating more claims, which creates more value, which allows you to charge a premium that can fund the acquisition cost, we find frequently that products are becoming challenged by the fact that distribution is not getting cheaper. It's actually getting more expensive in terms of the digital marketplace. So actually you have to think about, how do we create products that are appropriate to every part of the value chain and stakeholder chain, where, if the acquisition of the business cost X and we have to give the customer outcome of Y, we've got a far more nuanced and complex pricing model to think about, and product model, than how can we hit that price point by paying out as fewer claims as possible. We're re-engineering how we think about product build, really doing far more discovery with clients around target market, target distribution channel, the costs that are in that distribution channel, understanding what our clients are spending commission on, so that we can build value that allows them to be a profitable concern, acquire customers cost effectively, but also deliver on what the customer's expectations are, and our regulators' expectations. So that sort of 360-degree view of all of the channel, the product, the customer, and how that glues together. I think in terms of distribution and systems, we're predominantly a wholesale business. So we actively pursue distributors that have technology advantage, because that's a key differentiator. If their tech platform is going to be more future-proofed and can deliver the kind of granular data that we require from a data management and analysis perspective, that ultimately is going to give us better outcomes. So we're actively pursuing ecosystem partners from distributor, claims, and throughout the life cycle of the policy, where they can give us the data, they can give us that customer touch point at a price that not only works for acquiring the business, but also works in terms of us paying more claims to create engagement and to comply with the regulatory duty that we have. That's a much more sophisticated model to what it was 10, 20 years ago, where it was much more, what are your burn costs? How much commission does the distributor want? The combination of those two things effectively, was the starting point for your product build strategy.
I'm always really interested in conversations around data and analytics, not from a granular level, but from a sort of an overwhelm level, because people talk about data all of the time, but how people pull that data out can change what the data tells you. So and also there is so much data to be totally overwhelmed by it. How have you kind of developed that journey of choosing what data you need, choosing how you're going to deliver it, and then really understanding it to make changes? That might sound a stupid question, but it's something that I come up again time and time again.
It's a perennial question, obviously, the volume of data. My first underwriting director back in the 90s said to me that you can use statistics like a drunk uses a lamppost more for support than illumination. And that's quite an old-fashioned phrase, but it's never truer than it is today. So I suppose, that's a great example for our model, really. So we've just signed a contract with an external actuarial consultancy that has got a data warehouse, analytics and insight layer, and qualified actuaries. So as a smaller company, we now are accessing data analysis, data lake, data warehouse and insight as a SaaS service. So that's where the technology and I guess the almost limitless storage and processing power brings huge benefits to businesses of our size. But the reason that I have that partnership is I didn't believe that I could deploy at the right cost and with the right level of skills and in a incredibly fast moving part of the marketplace in terms of recruitment as well as data tools and technology is building my own data warehouse and data insight function internally within Capacity Insights would have, we believed, become an ever increasing cost, ever increasing complexity to get out what intellectually we might be empowered to know we need. And nothing could be more frustrating than knowing the insights that you desire from a piece of business or a piece of prospective business or a new sector, but not having the tools internally to actually get that to fruition. And I suppose that was a prime driver for us. We understood what we needed. We understood in high level terms what technology and intellect we needed to deliver that. But we've decided that external rather than internal is the way to go. And I think that will become a theme. I see that as a theme with AI, deploying standardized chat GPTs, and language models, out of the free to air or enterprise layer technology will not keep pace with your competition as those language models develop. And you have businesses that are specializing in that area, driving that forward. I think if you're not careful, the debate between in-source, outsource, partnership versus control, these things are just going to become a modern mosaic of how we bring together the ingredients of a successful, highly engaging proposition with all of the technical and regulatory requirements covered off. I think that will become the opportunity and the threat to both big business and small business, in that if we as smaller entities can remain nimble yet highly technically proficient and empowered by technology and the most modern platforms available, then I think, businesses like mine, at Capacity Insights will be profitable and growing and positive businesses to be involved with, into the foreseeable future. And I think the global giants, who obviously are, a massive force in all our marketplaces, I think they will have as many challenges as we do, just at different scale, whereby maybe their desire to partner for what they might see as core functionality around technology, AI, engagement, there may be less desire, less corporate appetite, and a greater inertia to try and be that jack of all trades, where they're trying to be experts across this huge gambit of technical proficiencies, which I think will be hugely challenging for them, just as it is for our business. But it's just, how do we deploy a model that works?
Well, I think you've essentially just redefined the title of this podcast, and it's the importance of partnerships in insurance, because it's not a new thing. People talking about niche businesses, focus marketing goals, like basically be good at what you're good at and bring in the experts for the rest. And that kind of almost a shamrock business model is a growing phenomenon, not just in our industry, but elsewhere. So I think you've just redefined partnerships in insurance and why they're important. And I think it's a really, really interesting piece. I'm grateful to your time today, because this conversation fits absolutely into some of the stuff going on in my business as well. So it's really, really interesting.
Oh, well, that's great. I've really enjoyed it. As you can probably tell, we're passionate about what we do here. We're trying to drive forward an innovation agenda, do right by our customers, providing these highly engaging consumer and employee benefit products. But it's a complicated space.
Very complicated.
But hopefully one we're navigating.
Very quickly for you, who do you want to speak to? I mean, we go out to over 4,000 people every time one of our episodes goes out. Who needs to get in contact with you and why?
We're a proficient schemes manufacturer, but distribution is always key. It's difficult for us with our marketing budget and our reach to get out there and engage with maybe quite a specialist, band of A&H retail intermediaries, scheme owners who are looking for that kind of bespoke product build that may be at an income base below what the massive global leading insurers are willing to deploy at. So I suppose, any intermediaries in the UK or Europe looking to deploy medical, dental, travel or personal accident insurance, we'd be delighted to hear from them.
And are you happy for me to put your contact details in the show notes?
Of course.
Awesome. You've heard it here. go get in touch with Phil. Details are in the show notes. Phil, thank you very much for your time. It's been a really interesting chat.
Thanks so much, Sarah.
Thank you for tuning in to another enlightening episode of Changing the Conversation. If you enjoyed today's insights and want to stay connected with the latest industry trends, be sure to subscribe, rate and leave a review. Feel free to reach out to us on social media or through our website to share your thoughts and suggestions, or even to nominate someone whose contribution deserves to be heard. Until next time, this is Sarah Myerscough signing off from Changing the Conversation.